Hi, I'm just going to talk for a little bit about something that is very near and dear to my heart. Not that I like it, it's something I have not a lot of control over, and it has been affecting me for the past 2 months very, very severely, but it's affected me my whole life. And I'm sure there are tons and tons of other people out there who suffer from this disease, because that's what it is, disorder. And the name of the game, the foe of my existence, bane of my existence, would be anxiety, which is a general term for, fear and worry, especially an excessive amount. But what it's really referring to in my case is um, just fear in general of negative things coming in your life that you feel like you have no control over, and that you are helpless to do anything about that. And I recently, well, this year, started going to college, which has been a major change, as it is for anyone. Um, and I found and discovered that, the first semester I was happy with, to some degree of the change that this was bringing for my life. Um, I was accepting, the good and the bad, with moving out, and not being, in your comfort zone. Because usually people, their home is their comfort zone. And when you are, placed out of that, you feel vulnerable. Um, Everyone has that special place. Most people do, at least. Some people can be drifters. And sometimes I wish I was more like that, but I'm definitely a homebody. And it's so important, that I have such a loving and supportive family who can help me with whatever I'm going through. But anxiety, for those who suffer from it, and this is what this video is for, um, it can feel like a maze that you can't get out of. And, you've probably researched a lot of stuff on the internet about, whatever condition you may fear you have, or a lot of these things are just, worry and fear in general, which is, I think, a good idea to an extent. I think it can feed, to some degree, though, the OCD hypochondriac inside of you to the point where you lose kind of touch with reality even more. But it can give you a source of comfort, and if that's what you need, then that's what you need. I do want to say before I, mention anything else that the number one thing that I think really changed the game for me was exercise and running. I know it's, everyone says it, but it's so important. Um, if you can just get out and run for an hour, you know, listen to music that you really like, and change up the game a little bit. Think, just while you're in that state, because it's so much harder to have a panic attack while you're exercising. It's usually when you're sitting around doing nothing, um, watching something, or you're just trying to go to sleep, or, sitting in class listening to the teacher. Um, to just give yourself that positive feeling so that when you're done, you can bring that back and think, okay, I was just this happy. I can, you know, I can move on, with the rest of my day, and keep that in the back of my mind so that when anxiety rears its ugly head, I will be able to, you know, um, I'll have something on my side as an experience, than that day itself. And that's why, you have to exercise pretty frequently to really, really notice any effects. But it will, obviously you'll feel good right afterwards for a while, um, which is great. So that's definitely a major plus. Um, and it's, yeah, it's just something you have to take step by step. Deep breathing is important, and just finding something that you can really distract yourself with, something you're really passionate about and excited about, um, that will, you know, it'll be your safe thing that you can run to whenever things start to feel like just really rocky. Um, whenever you feel like there's just so much pressure coming down upon you that you have nowhere to turn. So um, it's it's brutal. I don't know what else to say, but I just felt like there's probably tons of people who are suffering with this right now, and I don't know. Maybe this video would help a little bit to know that they're not alone, because that's what helped me, was knowing I wasn't alone. And again, this isn't, mind blowing stuff. You know, you could always figure this out for yourself, probably, but maybe hearing someone else say it really will um, help whoever may be struggling. And we all struggle with it, I think, to some degree. But it's just, when it becomes a chronic issue every day, then something needs to be done. You know, something. And if it's medication, talk to your doctor. And first, and get lots of sleep, and drink lots of water, and eat healthy. All of those things. Exercise. Stretches and deep breathing and yoga and meditation are all really helpful. And positive thinking in general, because that's something that also is extremely important to talk about. The power of the mind, because all of these things we create in the mind, you know, um, it can be hard to look at things like this, but, the mind is where reality comes from, and or it's how we interpret reality. And if that's really all that really matters, right? Because if we didn't interpret anything, we would cease to feel, and we would cease to coexist with it. We would just blank slate, no sense whatsoever of what's around us. We would, I guess, see things, but we wouldn't know how to interpret it, because remember, the brain interprets, the image we see in our eyes for us. So, everything is linked to the brain and to the mind. But what I really want to get through is, you know, the power of the mind, and how once you learn how to tap into that power and use it for positive ends and for positive energy, you really, really will start to notice that coming back for you. It can be a slow process, because you like me, and you're a negative thought processor, and day to day everything just sort of, you know, um, it doesn't really get you to that high place usually. It takes a lot of effort for you to really, really change your perception. This is hard, and it's not an overnight process, but over time, you can really, really create powerful, powerful waves of positive energy, and that feeds off of itself and exponentially increases if you continue along that path, which a lot of people, I think, have trouble, because we view life, bad things are supposed to happen to us. That's our kind of viewpoint on how this world is. To a degree, it's wise to believe that, because that means that when bad things do happen, it doesn't, you can't have the highest expectations all the time. That's just something we all have to learn. But at the same time, I think that is a thought process that deep down will not really relieve you any of anxiety you might have. So the best way to look at things, I think, is all just my opinion from my experience, is just to sort of have this ambiguous sort of view on everything that's just sort of doesn't really, it's impartial, to be honest, to whether things happen to you are positive or negative. That means when negative things do happen to you, you can react, and then you can think of it as, how am I going to react to these situations, which seemingly actually do not really matter to me, but I have the choice then to react positively or negatively to them. The choice is mine to do what I want with these things that just might seem to be throwing at me, but these things are neutral. I try and tell that in my head. They're not there, out to get you. The good things are coming here, and the bad things are coming there. It's all just coming at you from every direction, 360 degrees. You just have to find a way to find that balance of really registering what's coming at you and what are you going to do about this stuff that's coming at you. This happens to you. Don't just automatically think you are damned, that you are in the deeps, because that just is a negative thought process that will carry over into everything else that happens to you. You will carry that with everything that subsequently happens. It's a chain reaction sort of thing, and it's really really difficult, but it's very very important, and it really helps with anxiety. I think for me at least, is just looking at it, and you know, it's kind of like making peace with your surroundings. Just everything, the good and the bad, you embrace it. But you remember that you will never ever try, if you can, to react negatively to any of this positive or negative thing that happens to you. You will use it for your benefit, because you can with everything. If everything that happens to you is neutral, it's how you react that can go positive or negative. So that's on you, unfortunately. The universe throws everything into the mix, but you have the choice and the power and the will. If you have the will, you will be able to work with the universe, and it will work with you, because that's how the universe works. It works with you. And people who aren't on the universal thing, like, what's that? You know, this is just basic cause and effect. But, you know, whichever way you choose to look at it, this is important. This is to anyone. And I just thought that was a very important thought to share. So I hope it helps, and I hope that you help anyone who happens to watch this video and is struggling with anxiety and panic and fear in general. We all are. I mean, as a human race, we are steeped in fear. But so this is a big topic to just cover in one 12-minute video. But I wish you all the best, and I'm sending all the positive energy that I can muster for you, and to just hope that you can be the greatest thing that you were ever destined to be, which for all of us is the greatest thing we could ever imagine. So we're on this path together, and we need to hold hands, if that isn't already obvious. So peace, love, and light forever and always.